What's the biggest bullet you've dodged? I almost had a baby with a guy who was secretly switching out my birth control pills. I was 26 and had been dating this guy Austin for about 8 months. Everyone loved him. My friends thought he was perfect. Always brought me coffee in the morning, remembered little things I mentioned, talked about our future together. He even helped my mom fix her computer once. I'd been on the same birth control for 3 years. Same pharmacy, same time every month. Austin knew my routine because he'd drive me there sometimes. One Tuesday, I picked up my usual pack and something felt off. The packaging looked slightly different, but I figured the company changed their design or whatever. 2 weeks later, I started feeling terrible. Nausea hit me like a truck. I was exhausted all the time and crying over random commercials. My first thought was pregnancy, but that made no sense. I'd been religious about taking my pills. I bought a test at CVS and took it in their bathroom. Positive. I literally sat on that toilet crying for 20 minutes. When I finally came out, I went straight to the pharmacy counter where this older lady named Janet worked. She'd seen me every month for years. I was a mess, asking if my pills could have failed somehow. Janet looked confused and said something that stopped me cold. "Honey, you haven't picked up your refill in over a month." That was impossible. I'd been taking pills every day. She pulled up my records on her computer. There was a gap in my pickups, then a completely different prescription. Same bottle design, but these pills had 0 hormones. Basically sugar pills. I asked who picked them up. Austin's name was right there in the system. My hands were shaking as I drove home. I went straight to Austin's dresser where he kept random stuff. Hidden behind some old phone chargers was a bottle of my real birth control pills. About 15 pills left. I counted back the dates. He'd been switching them for almost a month. When Austin got home from work, I confronted him with both bottles. He didn't even try to deny it. He just shrugged and said he wanted to speed things up with us having kids. Said I'd been dragging my feet about marriage and this would help me see what I really wanted. Like I was some project he was managing. I told him I was pregnant and he actually smiled. Started talking about baby names and how we'd need a bigger apartment. I packed my stuff that night and stayed with my friend Maya. Austin kept texting me about prenatal vitamins and doctor appointments like nothing happened. 3 days later, I started bleeding heavily at work. Maya rushed me to the ER where they confirmed I was having a miscarriage. The stress and hormone crash from the pill switching had caused it. I spent the night in the hospital throwing up and crying. The worst part was Austin showing up at the hospital. He had the nerve to bring flowers and act like the grieving boyfriend. I told the nurse not to let him in my room. Through the door, I could hear him telling people it was just bad luck and we'd try again soon. I never pressed charges, but my doctor helped me document everything. She said cases like this were more common than people think. Austin tried calling for weeks, saying it was all a misunderstanding and he just loved me so much. Maya finally answered my phone and told him if he contacted me again, she'd post screenshots of his confession texts on every social media platform she could find. The miscarriage was horrible, but honestly, it saved me from being tied to someone who saw me as property instead of a person.